Yo, yo, beautiful friends, beautiful souls. May we praise in the glory of our divine creator on this beautiful day. I hope that you are all doing absolutely amazing. Like my sage wand, I made that all by myself. I hope you're all doing well on this beautiful Thursday, August 24th. If you're on this side of the planet, but if you're on the other side of the planet, it would be Friday, August 25th. I am so happy to be here for you for this edition of Q&A. So, some of the things we're going to talk about today. I'm in Florida. Should I be worried about hurricanes? Who is stealing the Native women and children? What are some of the pivotal points or ages in our soul contracts? Points in our lives where we have major things that occur. Will there be more lockdowns? Can we do anything, if anything at all, to stop the evildoers from their plan? Does Vivek Ramswamy have a chance in the United States election? This is just some of today's questions that we are going to answer. I already have my list of questions, so please do save them for yourself right now. Oh, let me put my computer on Do Not Disturb. Y'all can hear me good, I would imagine. Thumbs up down there. If you can hear me, can you hear me now? I just want to make sure I'm on the right microphone here. Should be on that microphone. Should be. But anyway, before we move on and I go into your questions for today, my name is Joseph Tittel, a.k.a. Spiritman JT, and my hack is hitting this microphone. If you're new here, welcome to the tribe. If you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, smash that subscribe. Join our tribe. Thank you all that clicked that like button already. And thank you to, who was it in the chat? Ryan, who just joined the tribe down below, and right on for your chat cash. I am greatly appreciative to each and every one of you who help make this free content possible for everybody. So I hope everybody else appreciates you as much as I love and appreciate you. So this is a Q&A going over questions that you have left me since I told you over the past week to leave me questions in the comments of the last videos that I've done. So we're going to address those questions. So again, hold on to your questions because I have quite a list to go through. I think there's there's definitely at least a dozen questions here. I probably won't even be able to get through all the questions that I have here because I want to try to keep it down to a certain amount of time because, people don't watch things if they're too long, even if they're good. And again, if you're new here, welcome. And every Tuesday, you can join me as we do live predictions, updates with new predictions, and talking about everything in the world and how it relates to predictions and prophecy on Tuesday. So you'll catch me again next Tuesday. Next Thursday, you will find my predictions, which will premiere live for September. You're not going to want to miss that. And either tonight or over the next couple nights, I will be doing my next channeling session, which will be released right after the September prediction. So probably the first week of September, Monday, probably the Monday. I forget what date that is, the 5th, I believe. I will likely release the next channeled predictions, which seems to be a hit amongst you all. Welcome everybody in the chat room. I don't see, it doesn't tell me on this thing. Oh, there it is. All right. I thought we'd have a lot more people here live today. I told you all we were going to do this. That's okay. Whether they watch it now live or whether they watch it later. I haven't done a live in a while. Hopefully my connection's good. It looks good from my end. Everything, knock on wood, during this Mercury retrograde looks good. So let's move on to our first question from Australia. Mike, Australia, good day. May I ask a question, please? Do we have, and I thought this was a good one. This is why I made it first. Instead of going into any kind of gloom or doom that might be coming up today, if there is, may not be. We'll see what happens. Well, somebody did ask about hurricanes, so don't much necessarily have good news about that. But I've said that back in May in my weather predictions. So going back to this question, do we have individual significant dates which the movement into our next session of our life journey? I have noticed many significant changes in my life, both good and bad, positive and negative, that have occurred on the third day of the third month. And I often wonder why. So, hope that made sense. It makes a lot of sense. And there are very many pivotal points in our lives. One of the first one that you need to be aware of is your Saturn return. Saturn return happens several times in your life if you're fortunate enough to make it that far in life. The first one happens, women usually go through it earlier than men, but between the age of 28 and 29. So basically like 29 through 31. And then someone told me this when I was younger. When you turn 32, you're going to wake up one day and everything's going to be different. You're going to look at life different. You're going to think differently. And so much is going to be different. And you think, yeah, okay, whatever that means. And it's not as soon as you turn 32. It's at some point after you turn 32. And I remember when that happened to me, and I was like, oh my God, this is what they're talking about. So then you'll notice this, especially if you look back in life, whether it be yours and the people around you. Do you know most young couples that end up divorced are divorced by the time they hit the age 32? Those young couples that are not divorced by then end up having their baby or their second or third baby at the age of 31 and 32. And I've said forever, if don't get married or decide what you want to do with your life till you turn 32, because technically you really don't know, because everything changes. Your second Saturn return is in your late 50s, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's the same, 58, 59 until 61, and then 62, you're out of it. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. And I believe the last one is your late 70s. It would make sense, right? Yeah, late 70s. Like I said, if you're fortunate enough to make it that far. And so Saturn returns are rough. They can be really rough. Everything changes. I mean, I look at that point between my age of 29 and 31 and then the age of 32. And 32 is when I left working in the restaurant business and have done this full time ever since, knock on wood. So yes, that's one pivotal time in your life. Saturn returns. Now, the rest would actually be determined. So if you're having something happen on March 3rd every year, you could be manifesting that actually, especially if it's something negative. Just like people manifest getting sick every year. Every year I get sick around this time or this time or this time. And then every year they do. That is actually the law of attraction. It has nothing to do with numbers or anything other than what you're manifesting in your life. So if you think that every year on March 3rd, something bad happens in your life, then every year you're going to manifest that. And every year it's going to get worse and worse. Now, other things that are pivotal is your numerology, especially what year you're in. Pivotal points in your soul, they're all pivotal. I mean, every point of our lives to me are pivotal points in our lives. But when we look at numbers, for example, the 9, you're ending your cycle. If you're in a 9 personal year, you're totally ending your cycle. It's endings, death of cycles. That's a pivotal point in your life to determine where the next 9 years of your next cycle is going to be. To figure out your numerology for the year, take your birthday, the month and the day, and add those numbers together. So, for example, on September 22nd, so you would add 9 plus 2 plus 2. Which is a 13. You always break it down. So you add the 3 plus the 1, and that's a 4. So you have a base number of 4. And that always is the same because it's your month and day of your birthday. Say your birthday was December 12th. So 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1, or 21st or whatever. You got what? 3, 6. You got a 6. Then you're going to add that with whatever year we're in universally. So this year we are in a universal 7 year. So if your birthday adds up, not the year of your birthday, just the month and the day, add those numbers together. If you get 2 digits, then add those numbers together till you have a single digit. When you're down to that single digit, add that to the year we're in. So if you ended up with a 4 like I am, then we're in a 7 year. 7 plus 4, of course, is 11. I just had brain freeze. And take that 11. 1 plus 1 is 2. I am in my 2 personal year. And that's how you figure out your numerology. So if you didn't get that, rewind this and listen to it again because it's so simple. It took me a long time to figure it out too. I couldn't get it in the beginning. I couldn't get it. But now I got it. I got it good. You can figure out what month you're in by what year you're in. So if I'm in, for example, my 2-year personal year, we're in the month of August. So 8 plus 2 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So I am in my 1 personal month. And that's how we do it. This year, we're in a 7 vibration for the whole planet Earth. That's why we're seeing more things spiritually connected happening, things coming out about the church, UFOs, aliens, all that's happening because we're in a 7 year. Wait until September hits. Don't miss my September predictions, because September, you're going to see all about that 7 vibration of spirituality. And we do that for the year too, as well. So for this year, October will be, for the universal number would be 8, which is all about money and finances. That's going to greatly affect, of course, the economy and everything on the planet with our monetary system. Been saying it for a while. Some people left comments, oh, well, this psychic said nothing's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's an 8. It always does. Something's going to happen, whether it's good or bad. It's just the numbers influence, and that's what's going to happen. So those are pivotal times in your life. Now, I'm not an astrologer, but there's also very pivotal times in your life in relationship to astrology as well. That's why I recommend that you should always get yourself an astrological chart and know what's going on in your astrological chart, because it varies. Everybody's different. We all have the Saturn return around the same time, but with everything else, it's different based on your sign. So hopefully that helps you answer your question and gives other people a little education on how to work that for you in your own personal life as well. So I have a question concerning the eclipses that are coming up in October of this year and April of next year. They are supposed to intersect in the southern part of Missouri. Do you think that area will be of any kind of concern for natural disasters? Well, as far as in relationship to the eclipse, no. In general, yes. Because here's the thing, and I have it here. Let me bring it up. I can't show you, but I'm going to bring it up and show me. I forgot all about this until you asked that question, and I just wanted to look to see where it intersected, because there's a couple different maps, and they all kind of contradict each other, some of these maps, as to the exact direction. But what I forgot all about was 2017. We had the same thing happen in 2017 with one going across, and I forget when the other one came across. So we had that happen back then. So it's not like it hasn't happened. It's just more pivotal. That's our word for today. Pivotal. I'll get it right. Pivotal time on the planet, especially in United States. And astrology, all these things are falling over United States as is, especially coming up September, October. That's why I keep telling you, this whole country is going to be completely different by the time we get to January. Different leadership, everything will be completely different. Hopefully for the better, but the way these dark evil doers are working, I don't know. So the map that actually, the most of the maps that I look at that show these double eclipses, the one in October and the one in April of 2024, show it landing right at the top of Texas. Some of them show it landing, where the cross point is, somewhere in Texas. So they're all a little bit slightly contradictory to each other. But regardless, what is most significant, of course, for the whole entire thing would be just the eclipse in itself. Not necessarily that being the effect of the tectonic plates and all, because that's going to affect everything globally. But yeah, definitely between those time periods of October 14th and April 8th of next year, there could be something massive that happens. Remember my vision of a star falling off the flag? Remember that? So, and this is just an example. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but like say an earthquake came and Hawaii sunk, or Texas sunk into the ocean, or even New York. That would be a state dropping off the flag, because that's someone else's question, which I'll get to in a bit. But just hypothetically speaking here. So it's going to have an effect on everything. And if you look at the map, X marks the spot. So if it was going to be anywhere, yeah, definitely there could be something catastrophic that happens there, but not necessarily on those days, October 14th and April 8th, just in between that whole time. And I'm saying that this is representing everything with the United States in general. And actually, as I look at it and gaze more, it makes sense to my past prediction that there would be a fight between states in the future in the United States, a fight between states. And when you look at this X and the way it is, it's dividing the country into 1, 2, 4 different spots. Is that all? Because most of it goes over Mexico too. So it's just prominent, and it is going to have more of an effect, more than anything, over the political and financial institution of the United States. That's where it all is going to end, and everything's going to collapse and go into something new. Hopefully the best for the new of good. But again, the way things are being ran right now, the devil's in control. The devil's warriors are in control for now. And, someone left a comment, yesterday? Oh, no, the light's winning. We just haven't seen it yet. If the light's winning, we're going to see it immediately. Right now, all we see is it looks like the darkness is winning. If you're looking just at that, yes, there's still light coming in. There's new innovations, new inventions, all kinds of amazing things that are happening besides these horrible things that are happening globally. But we are in the time of prophecy, major time of prophecy, all the prophecies. And that's one of the videos I'm working on. I can't wait till it's done. That'll be out the first week of September as well on the Hopi Blue Kachina prophecy. It's a good one. I'm excited about that one. Speaking of excited, somebody asked me, I thought this was kind of funny. Who wrote the Bible? Depends on how you look at it. If we're talking about the King James Bible, then King James wrote it. But, interesting enough, speaking of King James Bible, did you know that King James wrote a book before the Bible? Let's see if I can find the name of the book because I forget the name of the book now. King James wrote a book on demonology before he wrote the King James Bible. Interesting, right? Very interesting. King James Demonology. I guess that's what it was called. You can actually probably buy it on Amazon or eBay. It's on eBay. Again, that's a very open, debatable question. It was written by many. If we go back to the original text that been transcribed and changed so many times over the centuries. I mean, think about what we learned in school, whisper down the lane, right? Whisper down the lane, especially if whisper down the lane is going to make that story even better in your favor when you're whispering it down the lane. So they can change it and keep changing it and keep changing it and keep changing it. But Spirit says and told me a long time ago it was written by many, not just one, but many, a very long time ago. But it's been totally changed, especially the King James Bible. And it's just funny. He wrote a book before that about demonology and demons and such. So interesting. Such an interesting, fascinating earth school that we live upon. Wouldn't you agree? So here's another sad but interesting question is who is taking the Native American women and children in the United States? Well, actually, it's not just happening in the United States. So, it's happening in Canada as well. And it's happening in other countries as far as indigenous children go. Look at what happened in Hawaii without me even saying it. All those kids that disappeared that were left home from school that day conveniently. Yeah, most of them did not, perish as you may think. And you can kind of figure out what happened from that point forward. It's all the same group, Spirit says. It's the same evildoers. And the thing is they go after the indigenous ones, the native ones, even more so, because they are the true warriors of the earth, especially, for example, the Hopi, who say they are the first people of the planet. And that helps them build more power, more control. That's why I look at what they did with wiping out all the tribes globally. That Columbus guy who's they hold as a hero, who was just totally representative of so much horrible things, horrific things, tragic things. Look at what they're defining about the church, especially up in Canada. They're finding out about the church and finding all these mass graves of little kids. Did you see that movie? What was that movie? Oh, my movie was a tearjerker. Somebody just did me. Goldini. Thank you, Goldini, for the 2222. That's my birthday coming up. 28 days. Wahoo. Get to celebrate being older, even though we are a day older every day. So going back to the children and the kids. So yeah, Spirit says it's the same. For the most part, there are ones that go missing that are separately responsible from psychopaths and such in small groups. But the mass majority are the same group responsible globally. They're showing me Mr. Jeffrey E. So that whole ring is much larger than you would ever imagine, and much sicker than you would imagine. And of course, it's ran mainly from those who worship not God, but the opposite of that. And that's what Spirit says. And they go after the indigenous natives because in their minds, in their sick minds, they believe that empowers them even more, especially even the women, because women give birth to more native children, right? It's crazy. That's crazy. Interesting question, disturbing in my mind, but in the things that I see. Oh, so prayers to all of them. And all we can do is hold in the light that in the future, there will be justice somehow, some way. Now, Spirit said to me a long time ago that justice comes often in the way of karma that we don't ever necessarily get to witness that person, dealing with. And it's not from past lives, because a lot of people believe that, oh, I must have been a awful person in my last life because I'm paying for it in this life. You've heard that before, right? BS. You're paying for it in this life because you did something in this life earlier in life that you don't forget, or you're, conveniently forgetting about, because all karma returns to us in this lifetime. Past life karma doesn't exist. And if it were to exist, the definition of past life karma would actually be emotions that were carried over from past lives. For example, somebody's afraid to death of water and they don't know why. And then we take them through hypnosis, past life regression, found out in one of their lives, usually the most recent life that they lived, they drowned. And that's their fear of water. That's the emotion. We carry the emotions over, not the karma. And what I learned from Spirit about that is if we were coming back and reincarnating to pay for past life karma, we would never learn. We would never finish our journey. We'd be too busy trying to fix everything from the past instead of learning as we go. So we only carry over emotions. So interesting fact. Oh, and we also carry over some of our features. Even if we're male in this life and female in the next life, or other way around, we carry over some of the features. So, you could go into a friend's, say it's an old house, where they have pictures from the family and the house has been passed down for generations. And there's all these old black and white pictures, right? And it's your friend. And you look at the picture of, say, some guy in black and white picture, and you're like, oh my God, that looks just like you. It probably is. Because, we also, oh God, that hurt, carry over in the same ancestral lineage as well. It's fascinating. Past lives are amazing. I'm doing a past life thing. If you want to know about that, past life regression is wild. And I am doing a regression and coming up in September. The information is down below in my newsletter. And there's still an early bird discount. Last one I did, everybody had an experience. It was awesome. Not that there's a guarantee you will, but everybody did the last one. So cool stuff. Good stuff. Joseph, this is a question for your Q&A. Are we getting ready for another lockdown? I keep seeing stuff online, oh my God, that says lockdowns are coming in September and October and December. I gotta look up what my friend just sent me today. Hold on. I told you that the next lockdowns that they're gonna do, that'll be a bigger push, will be for the climate, and they'll use the climate. And Spirit showed me they'll do it in like parts, not all necessarily everybody at once, but in parts, like say one country or one area. And coming up, no lockdowns, not yet. Spirit says not yet. So don't panic. Yes, we are going to have a very bad outbreak of the season, whether it's a severe outbreak of the flu, whether it's COVID coming back or something else. Yes, no doubt that you're going to need to be cautious this winter. But as far as locking people down, it won't be bad enough, and they won't be using that yet. Spirit's funny, right? They won't be using that yet. Wait till election season. That's when they'll use that one. But no, not yet. Now, again, this is where I'm at, I'm going to say right now, because depending on where you are, certain places, yeah, they probably will try to find an excuse to lock you down. Places like Australia might. And then others places, even over there in Europe. So parts of the UK, because UK loves to push people into their little, imprisonment the best they can. So parts of the UK and around Poland, and that'll be more related to the conflict that's happening. What else? Parts of South America, especially Brazil, Peru and Brazil. So yeah, there will be some in some places. But as far as a global lockdown is concerned, no, that's not going to happen. Not yet, according to Spirit. So, we need to be cautious and wash your hands, be clean. If you feel like a mask is going to help you, then, more power to you. You're more than welcome to wear one if you want to. But you definitely should be cautious this season, especially, as we get into October, November, December. those time periods into of course, the new year. It'll be short-lived, Spirit says. And again, nothing to worry about. As long as you are keeping your immune system up to par and taking care of yourself and being healthy, washing your hands again and all that, you'll be fine. So, and if you remember going back months ago, we were in the energy during the summer of nurturing ourselves and being aware of ourselves. That was a big thing, especially in July. So hopefully you heeded that warning and advice. And now for some people, the focus, because of the Venus retrograde, is relationships and getting that all sorted out. But nurturing yourself is of the utmost importance. Question from Japan. Similar, same kind of thing. Will virulent virus like plague or from permafrost outbreak near future? I feel very uncomfortable coming winter. Thank you for viewing every week. To my friends in Japan. So again, no, nothing that we need to be overly concerned about. Even if the news pushes it out that you should be, again, just be cautious and mindful. Mindful is the word. Be mindful. That's it. Don't go into the fear of what they tell you, especially over there in Japan, because they're going to, again, they're showing me people wearing masks in Japan. So not that it's mandatory, because actually I see if some people aren't wearing them, but I see most people are. So there's definitely something going on there in Japan this winter. But I think more than anything, your uncomfortable coming winter feeling has to do with the energy that's coming out of China. That's eventually going to be China and Taiwan energy. Combination of that and also the energy shifts that are happening now, coming up on, in another week. And then the one we have in December. That's going to be a doozy just as well, where this year's going out with a bang. And so is this month of September is going out with a bang too. It'll be interesting. But again, don't worry. Permafrost outbreak. Well, we already know that in Antarctica, they found some kind of bug or virus in the ice that they, again, captured and took off of Antarctica. Like, that's the first number one no. Why would you take it off there? Just leave it. Why you got to mess with stuff? That'll be a problem in the future. I said years ago there'd be a return of the Black Plague, and it did return, but they don't tell you much about it, and it wasn't like back then. Nowadays, I think we have more things to be able to cure that and not to worry about it. So right now, no worries. 2025 could be more of a worry than anything, and I've been saying 2025 for years now, and that's a 9-year numerology, so it's all about endings. Everything's going to shift and change. My question is not mine, but someone else's. When will this craziness end? Something has to give soon. This craziness is only getting crazier. We are in a time of prophecy, whether it be Bible prophecy, whether it be Nostradamus, Edgar Cayce, or anything else. We are in that time. So unfortunately, it's going to become crazier and crazier. And the only way to avoid not being in the cray-cray is to make sure, again, that you are spiritually grounded. And the natives, the Hopi, say it the best in their Blue Kachina prophecy. Those who disconnect from spirit and disconnect from earth will become disconnected completely. And you'll have to wait and watch the video when I do it, when I complete it, because it's really interesting, their prophecy. But everything they say in that prophecy is happening. People walking around like zombies. It's happening. I mean, we see it in places like Kensington, Philadelphia, and other places, Seattle, Washington. They're walking around on that zombie drug. So these prophecies are all happening, friends. So again, take the advice of the natives more than anybody, but you need to get back to your connection with spirit, the earth, and being healthy, because they're the people that are the survivors at the end. Those that are not connected and are all disconnected and worried about everybody else and everything else and in fear, they're going to be the ones running around screaming, pulling out their hair, saying, oh my God, Armageddon's here. We're all going to die. When in reality, there's going to be others that are going to be like, wow, today's a beautiful, amazing day. Thanks, Mother Earth, for doing some cleaning up, because it definitely needs it. So it depends on your mindset more than anything. So don't go into that, oh my God, thing. And if this kind of stuff sets you off into that you should not be watching this kind of stuff. Go find a good comedy to watch or something. Q&A. If enough people get together, could they push, you say Apophis, it's Apophis, away from the earth? They do that with hurricanes. Why not Apophis? Well, I agree. But here's the thing, and let me just fill everybody in on Apophis, because most people are like, what the hell's that? What's that? Apophis is a comet that's going to come closest to the Earth than any comet, and I don't know how long, thousands of years or whatever. And, a lot of real doom and gloomers out there will tell you that it's going to crash into the planet Earth. That is not true. That is not going to happen, because Apophis comes every so many thousands of years. I forget how many thousands. Some people say 26,000. Some people say it's 3,600 years. So it's debatable. But whatever the case is, it comes, and it's in every prophecy, all of them, including the Holy Bible itself. And so, not that that's Apophis necessarily. Apophis, again, is the comet that's coming on Friday the 13th, all days in April of 2029. That's part of my video, my Blue Kachina prophecy video. So you're not going to want to miss that. So what this person is asking is if they could push Apophis away from the Earth. But again, Apophis isn't heading directly towards the Earth. It's going past the sun. I forget, it's like something like 11 million miles away from the Earth, which is close, but not close enough. What I would say we would need to worry about or be more concerned more than anything is the debris field that follows comets and basically meteors and things like that. Just like the movie Don't Look Up. It's the reason why they made that movie. They know what's coming. That's why they have underground bunkers in cities for them, for the elite and their little families and friends and government, because they know it's coming. They know when too. And it could very well be Friday, April 13th, 2029, because that's when the planet Apophis comes. So no, they're not, they can't push it out. And even if they could, they're not going to, because they want this to happen, because they want to be part of the survivors to take over the Earth. Everything else is a diversion. The whole climate, everything is a diversion, because they don't want you to know that this is coming and when it's coming. That's why when you read about the planet Nibiru or the red planet and all those, all you see is conspiracy. That's what they want you to believe. We should know, especially at this point in 2023, after everything we've seen with the word conspiracy becoming reality, that when they yell that so much, that's something we need to pay closer attention to, without a doubt. So no, they can't push it away from the Earth. And the thing is it's prophecy, and it's in every prophecy, including the Hopi, and it happens. It's part of the Hopi call it the great purification of the Earth. The great purifier, they call it the great purifier, or the red star, or the red Kachina, also referred to as Planet X, Planet Nibiru or Nibiru. So there's no preventing this. It's in every prophecy. All of them, they all talk about it. Now, Apophis, which is the comet that comes first before Nibiru, if it were Apophis, Apophis is named after the Greek and Egyptian gods of death and destruction. Why would you name a comet that comes closer to the Earth than any comet has after the name of death and destruction? Again, because they know something we don't know. It's a very interesting prophecy. And again, the video that I'm working on, really interesting. It's going to be a long one too, probably an hour and a half, because there's so much to talk about. So much. Welcome newbies into the chat room. I wasn't really paying attention. Other than since Goldini, I haven't looked since Goldini. I hope everybody's having a really good day today. I haven't done this on my computer like this, so hopefully my connection, everything is good. 428 people in the live. That's actually half the amount we get on Tuesdays, but that's a good lucky lottery number, 428. You should play that. You should play 213 as well, because that's how many thumbs up there are right now. Those two numbers, especially 428. 428, lucky lottery number, y'all. Lucky lottery number. When you win, remember who just gave you that lucky lottery number. It's only fair. It's only fair. My question is, when will the craziness end? Oh, I never said that. Yeah, it's not going to end. It depends on where you are in your life, because if you're feeding into crazy, you're going to be in that crazy. We talked about Apophis. Next question is questions for your spirit guides. Will we ever learn the truth about our history of where we actually come from or came from? What happened to the last reset of civilization? Well, I don't know about that other part to that question. Last reset of civilization depends on what you're talking about. Again, according to the Hopi, we're in the fourth world. So there's been 3 resets already. We're about to experience the 4th one and go into the 5th world. That's in the Hopi prophecy and other prophecies as well. And again, it's debatable on that time period. Because if we go back and look at ancient Sumeria, that tells, depending if, again, everything was actually interpreted correctly. Whoever interpreted the ancient text doesn't mean they did it correctly, but beings are trying to debunk the person that did do that and trying to say that's not what the Sumerians said. Makes me believe even more so. Again, like when they yell, "Oh, it's all conspiracy," it makes me believe that this person interpreted them 100% correct. In the fact that it shows the history of the Anunnaki people who come from the Red Star planet, or the Red Kachina in accordance to the Hopi. And when their planet comes closer into our solar system, it makes it easier for them to come here, of course. And they came here thousands of years ago, tens of thousands of years ago, to mine for gold, according to what they left behind, because their planet was dying and they needed gold, large amount of gold, to save their planet. And in doing so, they decided that they were going to create slaves to help them to mine that gold. And again, you can look this all up for yourself, the ancient Sumerians in Mesopotamia. And they messed with different DNA, like, for example, DNA with a bird. So now when you look at ancient Egypt and you have statues of gods that are half man and half falcon, or half whatever, alligator, all kinds of different ancient Egyptian gods, right? That they say stood 9 feet tall, like the Nephilim that they talk about in the Bible, the giant people. So chances are they did exist. And if you saw someone 9 foot tall walking around with the head of a lion, you can probably worship them too. If they pointed and told you to shut up, you would probably shut up, right? Or they'd stomp on you, just saying. So, there's so many things. So our true history, and to answer your question, and the truth about our history, it's out there already. It's just like kind of like things that have been rewritten, whisper down the lane. It's all been twisted around. And you got to go with, usually the most far-fetched is usually the most true, like that we were seeded here by different races. Now, there was a gentleman that in Africa, they called him the keeper of wisdom, or the keeper of knowledge. He died back in 2020. I think he was in his 80s. And he wore this necklace that was thousands of years old with all these different heads made out of clay I can't remember what his name was. And, because when I first heard David Icke talk about reptilians, I was like, that guy made that up to sell books. I did not believe it. I was like, that is a bunch of hocus pocus, until I saw this shaman in it, talking years ago. And he started to talk about his necklace, and he started to show you all the different space people that have come to the earth and seeded the earth. That apparently the earth is the only planet in the universe with multi races. Whereas on the other planets, like the grays, they're all grays. Reptilians are all reptilians. The Nordics are all Nordics. They all are the same, whereas Earth is not. That can also, some say, that's why there's so much negativity amongst the people here, because we're literally on different vibrational levels completely, because we were seeded by different vibrational aliens, whether you believe that or not, again. But when he showed the necklaces and started to say, oh, you're familiar with this one, these are the grays. And then when he showed the one, he's like, they're the reptilians. I was like, oh my God, Ike did not make that up. Because this shaman, he was 100%, like, no doubt that he knew what he was talking about. And that necklace was legit. And after he died, someone stole the necklace. It was a big deal. You can look this up and find it for yourself. What was the question? I went off the rails with that one. Oh, the truth about our history and civilization. Yes, to finalize your question, lots of wisdom and knowledge are coming to the planet Earth over the next decade. It's even in some of the prophecies where people are going to suddenly just start to receive this amazing ancient wisdom and knowledge. And I have no doubt, through all the prophecy studies and all the information I've gotten from Spirit, that as crazy as it sounds, that solar flares are going to have a big part to do with that, and things that happens, in outer space towards the Earth, that are going to awaken people and levels of knowledge and wisdom. This is what scares the bejesus out of all the dark evil doers, because they know this. If we know that these prophecies exist, you don't think they don't know? They know way more than what we even know. So they know. It's one of the reasons they want to block out the sun. It's the main reason they want to put something in space to block out the sun, because they believe that they are going to block those sun flares that are in the prophecy from coming, to stop people from waking up the way it's told in the prophecies. And that'll happen by the year 2032. We will already be in the new earth nation. I was told that by Spirit 30 years ago. And then, that 30 years, I was young when they told me that. Dinosaurs roam the planet. But on a serious note, it was a long time ago. And back then, we didn't have internet at all when Spirit told me that. We didn't have internet like we do now. I don't think we had it at all at that point. Or no, we did, because I was in high school. So yeah, we did have it. But not like now. We had Prodigy by Sears. Remember that? Before AOL. Kind of funny. Yeah, so 2032, Spirit told me that we would be in the new earth nation. We would be rebuilding the earth. So since then, there's been many things I've read over the years or heard from different sources in the spiritual web of that same time period, including when I went to Peru, because Spirit told me back in 2017 that 2025 to 2032 would be the most difficult time on the earth for all of humanity ever in history, except since the last, reset of civilization, I guess we could say. And when I went to Peru and we were talking, this shaman was talking about, Shaman Freddy Pudama was talking about his grandfather, talking about the whole earth shifting and, everything that's in the prophecies and how that's going to happen much sooner. And then I asked him, does the dates 2025 to 2032 mean anything to you? And his mouth literally dropped. He's like, yeah, that's what Spirit tells me is the most important time. I'm like, that's exactly what I was told. That's why I did a video called Tribulation 2025 to 2032. So I believe that that's without a doubt, most likely and most definitely the 7 years of tribulation. It makes sense to me. 2025 is a 9-year numerology, endings, death of cycles, letting go of, getting rid of, right? And then the period from 2025 to 2032 is 7 years. And 2032 is also a 7-year. It would make sense that humanity would wake up to a completely different level by the time we reach that 7-year 2032. Makes complete sense. We're in 2032 now. I mean, we're in a 7-year now, and look at people waking up. It's happening now. I wouldn't even doubt that between now and the end of the year, some of this knowledge and wisdom may hit us, because we are about to get hit with a bunch of sun flares in the near future, September and December. So, and these sun flares, and now that I say this, you'll take notice to it, because when I first did, and now I take notice to it, you'll see that more wisdom, more people, more knowledge comes out after certain classes. It depends on the class of the flare. It's kind of fascinating, actually. It's all fascinating, but it has a heavy effect. And again, it's in the prophecies as well. My question to you is, do you see humanity being more kind and loving to each other in 2032 and beyond? Well, yeah, of course. Because by 2032, that's when people wake up. And Spirit told me that, well, the prophecies say that all humanity is going to come together in pure love to create the new earth nation, the golden age, and it's referred to many different things. In order for people to come together, something major has to happen, whether it be major catastrophe, and sometimes that only works for a little while. After 9/11, America was amazing. People were amazing. Everybody changed. But, 2 years later, they went back to their miserable selves. So, I'm going to say it has to do with the prophecies and people awakening because of the vibrational waves that are going to hit the planet. It's amazing, actually. Really exciting time. And that's what's going to defeat the darkness. And again, the darkness knows this. This is why they're already blocking out using their chemtrail chemicals. Not only that, they have a lot of agendas in doing that. And if you don't believe it, aerosol injection, they do it. It's called geoengineering. Government admits to it. They're spraying out heavy aerosols. Remember, they banned aerosols because they said it was putting a hole in the ozone layer, but they spray us with them now. And now, Mr. G and his friends want to send a rocket ship out into space and shoot a whole bunch of aerosols to block the sun, which they'll probably do. But Spirit says they will not be successful in their mission. That mission is nothing to do with helping the planet. It's to do, my computer's going to die. Hold on 1 second. I thought it was plugged in. Sorry. I thought it was plugged in. It's not plugged in. Now it's plugged in. My apologies. Where were we? Do I have any more tea left? Shoot, it's 6:30. I shouldn't be drinking tea at 6:30 at night. This microphone keeps going in my face. Can we put you over there? My hat keeps hitting you. Where were we? How long have we been hanging out? 45 minutes. 4 to 5 minutes. Where are we? Loving each other. Yeah, so by 2032, yeah, definitely. And it'll be mutual, I believe, a vibrational thing that's mutual. You know, where we won't have people in that low vibration anymore. That's the other thing. And that's exactly, again, why the natives have told us, the Hopi and all the natives tell us that you have to go back to the old ways. As a matter of fact, I'm going to bring it up and tell you. I'm going to read it to you. Here it is. I have it in my notes for my Planet X. I thought this was really kind of interesting, actually. Only those who return to the values of the old ways will be able to find peace of mind. For in the earth, they will find relief from the madness that will be all around us. Many people of this time will be empty in spirit. They say, having no, I can't say that. Oh, sampachu, which is no life force in their eyes. As we get close to the time of the great purifier, which is Nibiru or the red planet, there will be many who walk like ghosts through their cities, through the canyons that they have constructed in their man-made mountains. That's cities. Remember, this was written way before big cities existed. So they walk like ghosts through their cities that are constructed of their man-made mountains. So basically, we see that happening with the zombie drug, right? People are walking around like zombies. Those who walk through these places will be very heavy in their walk. It will appear almost painful as if they take each step. They have become more disconnected from the spirit and from the earth. After the arrival of the twins, they begin to vanish before your eyes. Sounds like the rapture, don't it? So yeah, you gotta wait for that video. Interesting, but we're seeing it. We're in that time, 100%. I have no doubt. I'm convinced. I mean, I was convinced decades ago, but because Spirit, knock on wood, hasn't lied to me, they're not going to lie to me now. Question for Spirit Guides: will we ever learn? I must have had that twice. Skipping down the line. Can you give your feelings pertaining to the pending automotive strike for GM and Ford and Chrysler? Well, there's definitely going to be striking because I've said it in the past in predictions, and we're going into this astrological thing, especially September and October, that will make sense to that prediction, because my prediction goes back a while ago, and sometimes it takes a while for things to come into fruition, and we just started to see that, and then it kind of got quiet with that, right? We see it with the writer's strike in Hollywood and everything else that's going on globally. You're not showing you it all, but it's happening. But yes, it would make more sense. People are going to become more demanding. People are getting fed up. The Mercury retrograde is all about bringing out people's emotions along with other astrological influences that are all about stepping back into our power to take our power back. And the only way to do that is to step up and say, no, I'm not doing this. Yeah, strike. It won't be all car companies, but yeah, there will be a problem with that. And don't be surprised to see JB come in and bail out the car companies in the future. Bail out everybody. Bail out everybody, but don't help the people of Hawaii. Don't help the people in Ohio. Don't help anybody, but send all our money, not his, our money, to another country to fight your proxy war. It's lovely, isn't it? Speaking of which, will Russia or China invade the U.S. in the future? Well, it's not on the scope as of now, is what Spirit says, and let's hope it's not. It's China we need to worry about, not Russia. And the only way Russia will have a problem with that is if we step over that boundary with Russia, then Putin's coming in with China. But as of now, Spirit says no. We're already basically, okay, gotcha. Thank you, Spirit. It's already happening. There's already an invasion happening, and it's an invasion from China on the entire world. So it's happening in different ways. We can go back to 2020. That was literally a form of warfare, 100%, like without a doubt. But there's new ways of warfare, different ways of doing things, and it's like digital, like through the computers, hacking, and all that. That's where the wars come in. So it depends. If you're talking about physical people stepping on land and invading, no, not in the near future. Thank goodness for that. Although there could be a problem, as I said in the past, when it comes to Hawaii and Alaska. Remember, I said that there'd be an attack on Hawaii and Alaska. And most people were believing that there was just an attack on Hawaii. Where that attack came from, again, we can all assume. We don't know. We can easily assume and probably be 100% accurate. And I don't believe necessarily it was China. They might want to tell us that, but I don't believe that's necessarily true. But it could be. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me because, regardless, they're part of the web of darkness. Remember, Klaus Schwab and all his friends pushed that China is the biggest inspiration for the world. It's all weaved into the web of darkness. Doesn't matter. Even if they don't like each other, they're still part of that darkness that sold their soul or whatever they got them into that spot, and they're not getting out. So, yes, with strikes, yes. And no, not yet with Russia and China, but we are being invaded, just not the way you're thinking. Could you get more on which state will fall from the flag? Because, for those who are new here, a while back, I had a vision of one of the stars falling off the American flag, which was really mind-boggling to me. And, of course, the two that pop in my mind, of course, is Hawaii and Alaska. But it may not necessarily be for the reason that you would think. It may actually be more for a reason that has to do with catastrophic Earth events that occur on the planet over the next few years. That would be most likely the cause because, now that this sank in, because I said that months ago, now that it sank in, I don't necessarily believe that's because it's going to be invaded by another country or anything like that. I feel like something else is going to cause that to happen. But remember, I also feel that there's going to be a splitting apart of states and, almost not saying civil war, but almost like that when it comes between states. And many, many, many years ago, I said, it was a while back in 2016 or 17, that I saw a plan of the dark, evil, elite evildoers to break the United States up into 5 separate parts, 5 separate countries or units or whatever you want to call it, and change the name and combine it with Canada and Mexico. Hopefully they don't get their way. Everything by 2032, they're not going to have a choice anyway. And again, we got to go through some rough times according to prophecy. And many people are going to check out. They're not going to want anything to do with the rough times that are coming ahead. That's their choice. It's their soul contract. And we have to accept that and where we're at and do the best to be, again, connected to spirit, connected to the earth, and prepared for anything. You never know. Just have lots of food. And we see that. Spirit told us that years ago. And now we know why. Spirit, you'd save a lot of money if you would have stocked up years ago. A lot of money. So I haven't gotten any other information as to which state may fall off the flag. So I can only just interpret it just like the rest of us, what Spirit gives me. But I can't be 100% unless Spirit 100% tells me. Which also tells me, somebody asked, what do you think about Vivek Ramswamy? Is he legit or is he another Obama? He does have that Obama vibe, don't he? For those out of country, Vivek Ramswamy is a billionaire, self-made billionaire, 38 years old, who's running for president in the United States. But he isn't going to get very far. And if he's not getting very far, he's probably, to me, probably has a good heart and has good intentions. But it doesn't matter. They can have good intentions. Once they take that oath between the National Monument and the Capitol building, which symbolizes what I've told you in the past, that is an ancient ceremony that they did in ancient Egypt, where they believed that the Pharaoh embodied the gods. They do the same exact ceremony, the Freemason ceremony at the presidential inauguration between the National Monument, which is the obelisk that represents Osiris, and then the Capitol building, which represents the dome of Isis, which is exactly what they had in ancient Egypt. So even if he is good, I have no doubt that once they get to that point, look what happened to JFK. Need I say more? They get to that point, and if the guys don't embody their soul and they don't sell their soul to the system, they're gone. They take you out. So, no, I don't feel like he's going to get very far, but he does have a very strong Obama vibe. It's interesting you said that, because I thought that too. Same kind of vibe. You know, that charismatic energy. And remember, there's an Illuminati card that says charismatic leader, and a lot of people thought that was Trump. That is not. That is Obama, that card. I have no doubt. Anyway, moving right along. Where's my grandpa glasses? Can't see that far. Let's see. Can we have more specific information on what exactly we can do to stop them? The powers that be. Use cash, stock up, don't believe the bull crap, unplug from the news, etc. I feel like we need to do more and fast. But what is the question here? And I agree, we do. It feels like that sense of urgency. But the thing is you can't do anything until everybody's awake and ready to do something. Because we can step into our power on a personal level and, again, take back our strength, our power by not plugging into the fear. Absolutely. Always have, cash on hand, because you never know. It should anyway. Like, I remember when Hurricane Sandy hit the East Coast, all the power was out. People couldn't get money. So they couldn't buy anything because all the power was down. So, yeah, you definitely should always have food stocked up. You should have a couple months worth of food, at least a couple months worth of food stocked up. Just even if it's rice and beans, you could buy a big bag of rice. Well, I don't know about now because there's shortages on rice now, but big bags of rice and beans, especially dried beans. Hey, when you're hungry, that'll be really good. Just make sure you have some seasonings. So the only thing we could do to stop them is if, again, the whole world together steps into the power and fights them back. But you still have so many people that are on the opposing force and they don't realize it. They're like, the lambs of the dark ones, and they don't realize it. They have no clue. And they so believe in their minds that people like JB are not corrupt. He's not corrupt. No, he's not corrupt. They're all corrupt. All of them. Doesn't matter. But, people they really are so lost. It's sad. And it's not until that happens. And that's going to be a while. But again, I do hold hope that some of these flares coming up in the near future might help bring the next level of awakening. Actually, I'm convinced that'll happen, especially in September. Not even that, the events that are going to happen as soon as we get, especially between the dates of, say, September 19th and, say, 24th, that window right there, right around the equinox, right around Spiritman's birthday. Happy birthday to me. Big time, big stuff, huge stuff, which I'll talk about in my September predictions video. So be sure to hit that subscribe and join our tribe. What else I got here? I still got quite a bit. Yeah, I'm probably not going to get to everybody, but somebody asked, I am in Florida. Should be worried about hurricanes this year. Yes, you should, no matter where you are. If you're on the coast somewhere, that's all the more reason you should be prepared. Even have a little spare boat if you got one, because coastal areas are in great danger, especially right now as we're stepping into this energy, especially when we get to the end of this month of water. As I talked about on Tuesday's show, this whole energy of water is coming in. Water is, which means, the super moon that's happening on the 30th is going to be more super than normal. It's going to bring great coastal flooding. So, you have to be careful no matter what. We're seeing all kinds of wild activities starting to stir up in the Atlantic. Even what we just saw in the Pacific. So it's going to be a hell of a hurricane season. And, talking about hurricanes, I want to go back to my weather predictions that I did back in May. Check it out. I went through, and I didn't know that there were actually two separate lists of hurricanes. They come out with the list of names every year, and I always do the numerology around the list of names, but I didn't know that there were two lists, one for the Pacific and one for the Atlantic. I didn't know that. I only did, I guess, the one for the Atlantic, because that last hurricane that just came through California, I'm like, wait, that's not on my list. And then that's when I realized, wait a second. So the ones to look out for, just to remind you, because we're up on Adalia now. I think we're at Adalia, or the next one that's going to form is Adalia. Margot and Nigel. I still say, man, those two could be the two that I had a vision coming together as one. it could be them, and I'll tell you why. They're both in numerology add up to the number 11. Y'all know about the 11s and how powerful Hurricane Sandy was an 11. Hurricane Andrew was an 11. They also came in on 11 days. So, friends, if something comes in on the 29th of this month, batten down the hatches because that's when things come in, the 29th, the 11th. If you see a storm coming your way on those dates, you better take cover because you can guarantee it's going to be a doozy. And that's not only where Hurricane Andrew and Katrina add up to the number 11 in numerology, they also came in on 11 days. Sandy came in on the 29th. She's not an 11. I forget what her number is, but yeah, really important. So yeah, hurricane. It was in my weather prediction video of Florida, Miami, the Keys, and I can't remember everything else, but definitely go back to that. Someone asked a question in the Q&A if Amazon is poisoning us through their food. Is Amazon food poisoning us? Let's rephrase that. No. Yes and no. It was Spirit told me when you first read that. Spirit's like, it was poisoned before it got to Amazon. Can't blame Amazon for everything. And it's the processed foods. And it's not poison necessarily. We can't say poison because people be dying from poisoning, right? It's more like toxic would be the word. Poisoning is like rat poisoning, instant death. This is more like toxic stuff that leads to poisoning, right? Long-term poisoning. And that's processed foods and different chemicals that are put in processed foods. So no, not just Amazon, just processed food in general. Are they lying about organic and what's organic and what's not? Absolutely. And not only that, in certain places, especially in the United States, they can say it's organic when really, truly, it's not organic because their rules are so weird and so lenient for their profit, of course. So somebody asked a question. I live in a state where that has water. Is it going to be safe? Well, just because your state has water, every state has water. I live in Arizona and we got water. People think I live in the middle of the desert. I live in the high desert, actually. And there's water in the backyard. There's a creek right back there. So that's kind of too broad of a question to answer it. No, just because you live in a state that has water, it does not mean that it's safe or not safe. Really, I would need to know where you lived exactly. Are you picking up on anything about September? September 23rd has been shown in movies for over a decade. Yeah, every year, September 23rd, people say something's going to happen. And I have a feeling that there's going to be some type of pandemic that is about to go down on the 23rd. Now, I'll tell you, they've been saying it for years. There's been tons of videos done about September 23rd. But I would say if there was a year that they were going to do something with that date, it would definitely be this year. Because all the astrology and everything that's happening around that time period and just everything, that'd be a good time this year. But no, that whole week you got to look for. Spirit says that whole week, that whole time period, the 19th through the 24th, maybe even the 25th, especially, the equinox itself, which 22nd. So that whole time period, big stuff. Big stuff. And you got to watch my September predictions and I'll break it all down for you. Could you get, I said that one already. I lost my spot. I feel like I missed one in here. Are dreams connected to source? I did miss one. I knew there was one here I wanted to say. Are dreams connected to source? Well, everything is connected to source. Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your energy, your friends, your enemies, everything's connected to source. Everything. Even in the Bible, it says something like we were created in the image of God and therefore are all divine beings ourselves, meaning that we are all part of the divine source. So yeah, your dreams are very divine. And through work, like anything else, through work, through hard work, you can learn to do prophetic dreams where you start having dreams of the future, or even more easy. That's not easy to do. And that's a tough one because I don't get prophetic dreams. I wish I did. I get prophetic visions. That's enough for me. I don't need the dreams to go with it. I had them when I was a kid, though. Dreams of the big waves hitting the beaches and stuff. Yeah. Terrible dreams, actually, as a kid, of all these earth events happening that are happening now. Lucid dreaming was the word I was looking for. Lucid dreaming, controlling your dreams. Pretty amazing, pretty powerful stuff. So yeah, definitely there's a connection to source, and dream interpretation is a very tricky thing to do. I'm really good at interpreting other people's dreams, but dream books are a waste of money. Because I had a shop a long time ago, new age shop, and I remember I had a dream about a gun, and I remember I came into this shop, and we had like 4 or 5 different dream books that we sold, and I opened up each book to look up gun, and every single book said something completely different, every single one. So I've learned and determined that whoever wrote those books determined the definition of those books. I don't know how, through their own experience, I would assume. And everybody's different. And interpreting our dreams are complicated. The best way that you can start to do that for yourself is start to keep a dream journal where you write down all your dreams and everything, but also keep a daily journal. So you can go back and compare the two, like a week later after that dream, what happened in your life? Then you can interpret it and start to see what your dreams are trying to tell you. Like anything else, it takes work. Just like somebody asked the question, does anybody else in your family inherit the gift that you have? Well, I don't like to call it a gift. When I was younger, I did, and it made my ego big. And so I murdered the ego and dumped it off at the trash dump. Don't tell anybody. Because saying a gift to me is like saying God gave me something he didn't give you because I must be better than you. And it's just not the case. We're all gifted in all different ways. We're all one of God's divine gifts to the universe, right? Look at a little kid that picks up a guitar or plays a piano without no lessons. And you're like, wow, that kid's like amazing. He's so gifted. Which he probably picked up from a past life, because we carry over some of our talents from past lives as well. So to say that what I have is extremely heightened intuitive abilities that I couldn't ignore if I tried. And believe me, I tried everything and anything not to ignore it. But it doesn't mean that you can't pick up a piano and start learning to play like a master. Just like it doesn't mean that you can't learn to meditate and start to learn to connect with your intuitive abilities. That's what I teach in my class, my master class, which is a very serious, dedicated class of ceremony and shamanic journey. But getting in tune and with your guides and building that relationship. We're all psychic and intuitive. Your first instinct is 100% correct. How many times have you said to yourself, I knew I should have did that, or I knew I shouldn't have done that, or what the hell was I thinking, right? Yeah. Well, that's because you got the little devil's fear and ego on your shoulder that are always yelling in your ear. No, don't do that. Do this. Pay attention to your first instinct. You're always psychic and intuitive. But to say, nobody else in my family is a psychic like me, if that's your question. Although there's a great story of my great aunt. That was my dad's great aunt when he was a little boy in Philadelphia, and she was born with a veil over her face, which is very rare. And there's all kinds of stories. I studied the veil. There was a book called Beyond the Veil, I think it was called. But I remember they say that people that are born with a veil have extraordinarily God-gifted abilities to communicate with spirit, psychic abilities, and so forth. My dad said when he was a little kid, it was his great aunt. So she was she was an old lady. And he said she'd sit in a rocking chair all day, rocking back and forth. And she'd say to my dad, Billy, go get the door. Such and such is at the door. And he'd be like, there's nobody at the door. And she'd be like, oh, yeah, they're getting off the trolley now. And he'd open up the door, and whoever she named was getting off the trolley, walking up the door. And they used to think she was a witch, because back in those days, you must be a witch if you have that ability. And there was also the story that the veil, if you have a child born with a veil, you save it and put it in a box because it's supposed to bring in the family good luck and fortune throughout the family ancestry. The odd legend about this is that if you're a ship captain and you're able to possess a veil, it would ensure that your ship would never sink. So I guess the Titanic didn't get their veil. They should have had one. Because the story that goes to my great aunt is that during the Great Depression, her mother, I think it was her mother, sold the veil to a ship captain for $500, which back then that was probably like 500. That was probably like 50 grand or whatever. It was a lot of money. And sold it to a ship captain. Didn't want to sell it, because, it's good luck for the family, but they had to because it was a Great Depression and he offered a lot of money for it. Interesting, right? Fascinating. The story of the veil. You don't really hear about that now because you know what happens is it's not a deformity. It's just basically a piece of foreskin over the face that they just peel right off. So being there's no deformity or no issue, they just peel it off and throw it in the trash can and they don't tell you, which is crazy. I remember I met twins. One of the twins was born with the veil and the other one wasn't. And the funny thing is the one that wasn't born with the veil had all the special abilities and with spirit and all. The one without the veil had nothing. You know, it's kind of interesting and fascinating. How long have we been here? An hour and 10 minutes. I think we're going to end with the questions for now until the next time. Until the next time, friends. Hey, look, listen to this. Don't go yet. Please don't go. Please don't go. Babe, I love you so. What was I going to tell you? Oh, Tuesday. I'm trying to pull up my calendar. Sorry. As I serenade you. Next week is a full moon energy shift, the 30th. And I'm going to do a powerful healing guided meditation because it is like, you know, we only get usually 3 of these a year, 3 of these powerful new moon or full moon energy shift begins the beginning of the cycle, which makes it the most powerful date for healing. Healing for yourself, healing for the planet, healing for both, actually, because that's what we're going to do. I'm going to record that meditation this weekend so that it's nice, clear, and crispy. So and have it uploaded so that you know that it will be available, and we will do that live together on the full moon, which is Wednesday the 30th here, and it's actually at 6:35 p.m. So for people on the East Coast, it's going to be late when we do it because I'm going to do it exactly at full moon, 6:30. So by 6:35, we're meditating. So on the East Coast of the United States, that'd be 9:35 p.m. But hey, great thing to do right before you go to bed is do this powerful healing meditation. So join me for that. And join me on Tuesday for another edition of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time. Until the next time, my beautiful friends, thank you for your chat cash. Those who were kind to do that. Thanks for just hanging out with me, and thanks for your good questions. There's more questions on my list I didn't get to. Sorry, but I'll save them for the next Q&A for September. Till the next time, which is going to be Tuesday, unless something big happens and I got to see you before that. Keep an eye out. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for clicking that thumbs up. Much love to each and every one of you. Remember to be bold, be true, be kind, be you, because you're awesome. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love. Namaste. Now I got to figure out how to get off of here because I just totally lost the window. Where'd it go? Oh, there it goes. All right. Much love, friends. Much love. I will see you in the future. This I know. Spirits told me so.